I have said before to people in that situation, those kind
Such a good noise. Hold on. Oh, come on. Come on. I'm so upset right now. Wait.
Oh. The other way I've responded in that situation is that has worked. Mm-hmm. This has worked before. And sometimes it doesn't. But I have been like, you are having a bad day. And
clearly.
I'm sorry you're having such a bad day. But it's not my fault.
That's great. How do you argue with that when you're in that mode? You can't.
Well, and I've had people say like things like this, like, you don't know anything about me, and then go to 11. And that's when it's like...
Do you know what's important to have a response for? If you're at a restaurant, and I haven't had this happen, but I've thought about it and I've heard it before. If you're at a restaurant and someone's screaming over at the table, and you say, hey, you need to chill out, and then what they're going to say, their immediate response, most of the time is going to be, this is none of your business. You just made it my business when you started screaming. That's important.
I'm not going to try to censor other people's conversation, but I can say something like, hey, do you mind? I've got kids here.
Yes.
I have had somebody say, I don't give an F about your kids.
I'm telling you, man, it takes a certain... You can freak out at your family, and that's bad. You don't need to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But it takes a certain type of dysfunction to say that to a stranger.
Yeah.
Like to boldly say, I don't care about your kids. Like it takes a certain kind of, for lack of a better word, fool. I almost said idiot, but then the word fool came to my mind. Of like, what are you doing? Like when people are being Karens or whatever in public, you know their home life is a mess.
Let me tell you a story about me being bullied in high school.
Okay.
Legit. Like, so this guy, I'm not going to call him out. I'm not going to name him. But he was one of the wealthier families in school. His dad was like a big judge in the school, and he was driving a big swank SUV. And I was walking to my 88 Le Mans, which was the car that my grandma basically died in, and I inherited. The gas gauge didn't work on it, and AC was iffy, that kind of deal. We did not have, again, we know my story. I didn't have tons of money, worked hard. Moral of the story, I was walking out to that, and he pulls up in his big swank black SUV, rolls his window down, a Murano or something like that, whatever it's called, which I affectionately call it a Morano, because he rolls this window down and says, hey, where are you going, man? Where are you walking? He says, is something wrong with you? You're okay? You're walking a little funny there, Cliff. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I started trying to be real cool, and I was like, are you jealous of my walk, bud? Is that like what's going on? He's like, nah, you're walking like you got something up your butt. And long and short was they started making homosexual slurs at me. And I had this moment where I really wanted to defend myself. And this is what I did. Now, and I was a junior or senior in high school. This is what I did, and I don't want to make it Sunday school. But I looked him in the face. I said his name, and I said, do you know Jesus? I said, do you got Jesus in your life? Really? I said, because if you had Jesus, I said, I feel like you'd be more positive. And I said, I almost never hear anything positive come out of your mouth. So do you know him?
He's going to sleep on that.
Do you know him? Like, do you need prayer? Like, I was in the parking lot, and he was continuing to talk about me hiding items in my derriere or whatever you want to call it, and gayness and all this whatever. And I just was like, do you need him? Like, do we need to pray? I'll pray for you. Maybe I'll start praying for you. Like, and he just drove off. The car was full of kids, and one of them is one of my closest friends now. And I think part of it is because of that instance when that happened. Is because there's a lot of truth in that. So I'm not trying to. I don't think you can. I don't know that you can diffuse every situation by going straight to Jesus. I don't know that you can. But in that moment, all I wanted to do was punch his face through the window. in front of all his friends, because he was just a lot of them were laughing and egging it on in the car, trying to make me feel this big. So the only thing I knew to do in that moment was like, do you know, because you're so negative all the time. Do you really have a relationship with him? Can we pray right now? And like I said, it sounds like TBN. It sounds like all that, but that's where
What do you say to that? To your response?
I don't know.
You go home and you probably think hard about it. What's he doing now?
I saw this dude. The funny thing is, 15 years later, I saw this dude. We're getting gas at a gas station, and at that point, the band had taken off and everything, and he was trying to be like my best friend. Dude, it's good to see you. How you been? Yada yada, whatever. Everything in me wanted to be like, I don't know you. Get out of here. But. Yeah. We're kids. I'm a firm believer that I don't condone bullying by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think a little bit of social shaming as children is natural. It's normal. It happens. Yeah. And I think part of that adversity helps you become a more resilient human being. You're more capable of taking more pressure and because there's people that are gonna be critical of you for the rest of your life. Yeah. Like always. So it makes you better at handling criticism and stuff like that when you take a little bit of that social pressure, social shaming. So all I did with this guy was I was like, hey man, yeah, it's good to see you. How you been? You doing all right? See you later. And I just took off. I wasn't friends with the dude. I'm not friends with him now. But it was important for me to not harbor ill feelings over something dumb that kids say and do back then.
The reason I say that is it kind of comes down to that public thing. I think it's the same muscle, the same impulse of like, I'm going to freak out at a stranger that I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to intentionally be mean to this person that I don't know well. I think that's the same muscle and the same impulse, and I think you throw that at everybody in your circle if you do that.
You know what?
I don't think it gets better.
The interesting thing about this situation is this guy also happened to be the shortest, smallest, scrawniest kid in the entire class.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like I don't know if those are related.
Compensation, man. It's crazy. It's this whole psychology behind like. It's like I guess one of the strands is I don't have a relationship with you, and I'm going to go to 10 on you. That muscle, if you have that impulse, I think that can lead to some dark stuff later in life, and I think it does.
What happens if a Karen and a Richard get together and have kids? What are those kids like?
This is not a joke. I'm not going to this is not a joke.
Okay.
Columbine.
Oh shoot. All right, hold on.
You take these parents, they have no idea. I guarantee you there were signs left and right that those kids were nuts. And every time with the school shooter situation, it's always, we had no idea. It's like, dude, and I'm just telling you, the reason I go straight to a dark example like that is this is where a generational thing leads if you do not fix it.
That's a podcast for sure.